Good evening, y'all. Welcome to Sports Con with the Conn Man. I am your host, the Conn Man on Sports Wave Network. And tonight I have with me a very special guest, one of my best friends in the world, Mr. David Leitao. And looking forward to having him on my show. We tried to get him on last week, but due to technical difficulties, he was not able to attend. But I think he will be here tonight. Anyway, I'm going to give you a little historical perspective on Mr. David Leitao. David Antonio Leitao Jr., born May 18, 1960, is an American professional basketball coach who is the head coach of the City Reapers of the Overtime Elite, which we'll talk about in detail in a little while. He has previously been the head coach of the Maine Red Claws of the NBA Development League, the University of Virginia, and its alma mater, Northeastern University. He was named the 2006-2007 Atlantic Coast Conference Coach of the Year by the Associated Press, but finished at 10th and 11th place in the conference during his final 2 years with the Virginia Cavaliers. He resigned as the Virginia basketball coach on March 18, 2009. There is Cape Verdean American descent, which we are all proud of. He is the first coach of African descent to coach on any varsity sport in the University of Virginia history. His playing career, we'll go into that as well. David was a 6'7" forward, was recruited by Jim Calhoun to play basketball at Northeastern University. From 1978 to 1982, David played at Northeastern, where he averaged 6 points and 5.4 rebounds per game, which was not that bad back in the day, keep it real. And the teams made it to the NCAA tournament twice and posted an overall record of 79-34. Leitao is a brother of the American chapter of the Iota Phi Delta fraternity. Leitao was recruited by Coach Calhoun to join staff at Northeastern University in 1984 and followed him to the University of Connecticut as an assistant from 1986 to 1994. He returned to serve as head coach at his alma mater, Northeastern University, from 1994 to 1996. Leitao returned to Calhoun's staff for 6 seasons, including the Huskies' national championship in 1999. And guess who we have on the show right now? My dog, my main man, Mr. David Leitao. Dave, how you doing, my brother?
I'm blessed. I'm blessed, Michael. How you doing, the Conn Man? How's everything? You looking good?
I'm doing okay, my brother, man. We got a couple surprises for you tonight, I think. But anyway, I want to give you your roses. So, Dave, if you could, can you let the people know, the viewers know about your grind and how it all started?
Oh boy, it's a long story, and as you get a little older, like we are, you get more reflective and more sentimental. So, kind of it started way back when we just lost, our very dear mentor, Peter Brittle. He's the one that got me started way back when in basketball. And from that point on, I just tried to become a basketball player and got good enough to ultimately earn a scholarship to college. Little did I know I'd be playing for a future Hall of Famer and Jim Calhoun. And 4 years with him, I think he recognized something in my character and my personality that he asked me a year later to become a coach. I had never planned on it. I never thought about it quite obviously, and when he asked me, it was just the next best thing I could do in my life. I was living in California at the time, so from 1984 into 2024, it's been a 40-year journey, and it's taken me all over the world. It's taken me places and done things for me and my family I never thought would ever happen. And I learned under him tough love, leadership, all the things that would make a team or a person, an individual successful. So stops at Northeastern a couple of times, in Connecticut a couple of times, in Chicago a couple of times at DePaul University, Midwest and University of Tulsa, University of Missouri, here in Atlanta where I am right now at Overtime Elite. So I think I've run the gamut over 40 years of doing a lot of different things. And again, just been very, very, very blessed for a young guy from New Bedford to have seen and done what I've been able to see and do has just been a blessing from God.
And Dave, what you have done is astronomical. I mean, coming from the hood in New Bedford, going to Roosevelt, hanging with the Conn Man and the crew, and to do, and to go to the Holy Family, and to do what you've done is, I don't know, it's a blessing, and I don't know what else to say. What do you think led you into the world of coaching?
Well, here's a funny story, right? So we as Cape Verdeans know our culture, we know our people, and we're not blessed with a tremendous amount of size, height, you all specifically you gave me the nickname Stretch because I somehow was taller than everybody, which gave me a little bit of an advantage. And I tell the story about my mom and dad who have passed away were both 5'7". So we've done the lineage and went back, and I couldn't find anybody that was anywhere near the size that I had become at 6'7", and so that was God's work, and either that or milkman. I can't understand either one, but uh, it got me interested, obviously, in developing my basketball ability. My sister or sisters were athletes, and my sister Diane was the first female to ever receive a scholarship to Providence College. So that was a great mentor in my household that I could follow and see that she was able to go to college for free and started doing the same thing. And so once the basketball journey started, I just, I didn't know where it would take me. Like everybody else, I had dreams and aspirations. And again, like I said, something about me or my personality allowed Coach Calhoun, who was looking to hire a former player of his to be a coach and to mentor Reggie Lewis, the late Reggie Lewis, and people at that time. So he had enough belief in me to give me the opportunity. And when the day that I said yes, and the day that I started, Con, is the day that I made a pact with myself that nobody was ever going to work harder than I. I was going to be first in, last out. I was not going to be uh, the person that didn't give my best every single day, and didn't know what that would be. Didn't have aspirations of what was going to come of it, and so just dedication, hard work, an interest in learning people and learning the game even better from a coaching perspective is what got me the opportunities that I've been afforded.
Now, Stretch, I want to go back to the beginning. When did you think you had any basketball ability?
When I
You
kept
know,
getting beat up on the court. I playing at Monty's Park all those years, um, watching people at our age and junior high school and the beginning of high school that were better than I, and seeing an opportunity to get better. But there were, every community has its people that help make you better and help raise you. And I'm a product of that. Whether it was Mr. Brito putting me in better opportunities, or it was the guys that we played with roughing me up and telling you had potential, but you got to do this better or that better. It was all those people in and around the South End of New Bedford or wherever basketball had taken me at the time to give me an opportunity to become better. My mother, God rest her soul, thought it was a great idea to attend Holy Family. Father Driscoll at the time took me under his wing, and another young man, Jimmy Colbert. We went there together, and were able to kind of establish ourselves as better basketball players than we were. We had a platform where we could be in the spotlight, and at that time, and so that was part of what gave me confidence to know that I could become better. And halfway through my senior year, I got some opportunities to be recruited, and as I said, the rest kind of took care of itself.
but one thing you didn't tell, Stretch, is that you and I went to Roosevelt together. We were the same height,
Mhm,
had the same
mhm,
afro,
mhm.
and my doctor told me I was going to be 6'8", and I think I should sue him because you ended up becoming 6'8", and you talk about your moms. Your mom's like is one of the most beautiful people I have ever met in my life. I mean, she's was always a bundle of joy, and I want to give praise and props to her, and God bless her soul as well as your dad. And as far as the Holy Family situation, I kind of wish I went there with you guys, but I didn't. But you had Jimmy Colbert, you had the crew, and you guys did very successful. And you went on to go to Northeastern. And I recall, man. As a matter of fact, you gave me a call, and you came to my house when I was at the United Front. You came to my house. You said, "Mike, I'm going Northeastern." I said, "Okay, cool." And I'm going north. I'm going to Framingham State with Mickey Gonzalez. And you came to visit me, and I came to visit you, and it was a great experience. And you had a great collegiate career. You played with some great players, Perry Moss. We can go into detail with that. And uh, Stick around because you're gonna get some surprises, my brother. But anyway, what I wanted to know was after you had your great career at Northeastern, and you told me you played against someone from the University of Georgia. I can't remember his name if I recall. I think he had a little bit of a leaping ability. Can you tell the viewers about that?
Life comes full circle, and so I'm living in Atlanta now, and I've gotten a chance to spend some time with him. But yeah, we were playing in a holiday tournament, Cotton States Classic, and we thought we were pretty good. We come down to Atlanta to play University of Georgia. We won our first round game, so we're playing Georgia in the second round, and that a young man by the name of Dominique Wilkins, and didn't know a whole lot about him other than he was a really good player. I knew he had got a lot of publicity. He was a really good athlete, but wasn't until we stepped on the floor, and I remember it like it was yesterday. They put a press on us, and they got a steal, got a basket. They set up their press again, and he made the steal, gave it to one of I think it was Marbury, Eric Marbury at the time, who threw him an alley oop, and I for goodness sake, I'm standing around half court as the anchor, and I literally saw the bottom of his sneakers as he went up to dunk the basketball, and I said to myself, I think we're in trouble today. I think we're in big trouble, and so they put it on us, but it was a great lesson, and I've gotten over the years to meet him a few times. But now that I'm living here in Atlanta, I work very closely with his nephew Damian Wilkins. He's the general manager here at Overtime Elite where I'm at, and so I see the Wilkins name and the family, and from Gerald, Damian's dad, or Dominique, his uncle, his son is going to be a really good player. So I've gotten to know that family very well. But it started way back in 1980, 81 with that game against University of Georgia. Thanks for reminding me.
You know that. You already know that. Now, Dave, going back, well, I call you Stretch. Going back, okay, after your collegiate career,
Mhm.
you decided to go into the coaching because Coach Calhoun recruited you. And where did they go from there?
Well, even before that, Mike, I had graduated, as you know, people around Northeastern is a 5-year university. So I finished after 4. I had a year to go to graduate. And I'd promised my mother that I would get a degree, and so I fulfilled that promise. But I gave up basketball as a result. I said maybe I'll delay it a year, but after a year, let me go into the workforce. So I moved to California with her and spent a year. And I think it was the most important year of my life because it was very, very humbling. I had played college basketball. We had been to the NCAA tournament a couple of times, had a lot of success, gotten a degree. I thought I was going to move to California and live happily ever after, get a job, put a gray suit and yellow tie on, and go out into the business world and make it happen. And anything but that happened. So I was making little to no money with odd jobs, cleaning office buildings at night, doing anything to make a dollar. And my mother being the disciplinarian that she was, you had to work one, and then you had to pay rent too. So it was extremely humbling. And I say that because even today in my conversation with young people, you have to be humble. You have to fail before you can succeed. And so that was a platform that allowed my opportunity to start coaching to take shape because as I knew back then, I did not want to continue to fail. And this was going to give me an opportunity to do something very unique, which is to go out and try to make a program better, be a part of something bigger than myself. And as I say, Coach gave me an opportunity, and little did I know, 2 years later, he actually asked me again to follow him to the University of Connecticut. And so I was 26, didn't know a whole lot still about the coaching industry, but knowing that he gave me his blessing and believed in me. My repayment to him and to the opportunity was to work extremely hard at being the best coach I could possibly be. And so I still hold that very true to me today. I lived that for since 1984, June 15th, and until how we are today. About any industry that you partake in, anything that you do, you have to dedicate your heart and soul to it, and don't let anything or anybody stand in your way.
Now, Stretch, you failed to mention some of the players you recruited
Mhm.
back at Northeastern, some of the trials and tribulations that the Northeastern family had to go through. Can you mention a little bit about that?
Yeah. So as I said, Reggie Lewis, who you know, came from being a sixth man of his high school to being a star at Northeastern, leading scorer in the history of the school, first round draft choice of the Boston Celtics, captain of the Boston Celtics, who had an untimely death. He was the first great player that I had been around, and so studying his personality and what it took to be really good, all those kinds of things went into shaping my relationships with people and players, past and present. Andre Lafleur, our point guard at the time, who ended up as the NCAA's leading assist man at that time when he graduated, was another really good player there. Wes Fuller, Kevin McDuffie, and these people I still keep in touch with today. Those relationships are something that I've cherished then and cherish now. And we were able, because we had gotten well known throughout the time that I was a student athlete there, to be able to recruit in some places that other teams at our level could not do. And that was part of the greatness of Jim Calhoun, that he could exceed expectations like that. And so, those players and many more that I've mentioned, Skeeter Bryant, just they were really, really good players that put us in a position to continue our success. And so we were able to what people don't know is that time Northeastern and Boston University were fierce rivals, almost like the Hatfields and McCoys, or Duke and Carolina on a smaller degree. And just imagine, at Boston University, you had Rick Pitino, who was a Hall of Famer, national championship coach. A couple miles down the road, you had Jim Calhoun, Hall of Famer, national championship coach, at the humble beginnings of their career, and just matching wits. And me being a part of it, both as a player and especially as you mentioned, being a coach, was with the players that we had, was just awe inspiring.
All right, Stretch now. You know me, I keep it real. So after that, you know me, as after that, you know, you kept yourself very humble after what you experienced. I mean, you allowed me and the Steel Brothers and all friends to be a part of what you were doing and how your growth was as well. And of course, we appreciated that. And I want to know what made you be the person that you are.
My mom, my mother, she instilled the balance between tough love. I was just joking with somebody yesterday that she loved me to death. I am her only son, and in her eyes, I could do no wrong. And I have a joke with a friend of mine. We were having dinner many years ago, and she said she was talking about me in front of he and his wife and my wife, and she called me perfect. And so I'm anything but perfect, but in her eyes, I was. But at the same point in time, she was hard. She was very, very hard, and the lessons that she had to teach us to become who she thought we could become. We had to do certain things that we didn't necessarily agree with, whether it was, the daily chores, or, minding everything that she had to do and say. And she worked extremely hard. She got up 4:30 every morning and worked at Goodyear Tire and Rubber. And so, 6 to 2 shifts she did every day. And she wanted us to understand the value of hard work. I was joking, as I said the other day, and my children, because I want better for them than I had, was spring break is like, Dad, where we're going? Florida, Disney, Cancun, where we going? And our spring break wasn't called spring break; it was called spring cleaning, because we weren't allowed to leave the house for the week. You just wash and wax the floors. You washed every window. You cleaned every closet. You did everything. That was our spring. But it taught us a valuable lesson me and my sister is about hard work. And so that's where I got, a lot of my personality from. I think, I try to anyway balance a lot of humility with a lot of self-confidence. And I think a lot of that came from her.
Stretch, this is my tribute to you. This is me giving me your roses. I set the table, but I do it buffet style. And what I mean by that is, you can do whatever you want, say whatever you want. And I'm honored to have you on my show. I love you to death. I just want the viewers to know the journey, the grind that it took once you became, because you said you really didn't know what it was like to become a assistant coach or the grind, the travel, the recruitment, all that. How
Mhm.
did that come about, and how did you achieve that?
Yeah, so once I decided that coaching was going to be something I pour my heart and soul in, then you're willing to do what's necessary to be good, or to be, to uh, make sure that you don't let the man that hired me to let him down at any point in time. And so at Northeastern, we didn't have a lot of money, big budget or anything like that. So it was a lot of car rides, a lot of time by myself, contemplating and thinking and putting together a plan of how I wanted to do things. Typically I'd get in a car at 6 in the morning and drive to Philadelphia, stop at a school at 12, another school at 3, another school at 6, get back in the car at 7 and drive back to Boston. A lot of people can't do that. I wouldn't do that, and uh, it wasn't always easy. It was a lot of sacrifice. I sacrificed the one thing that I think I hold near and dear is community. I love you to death, but we don't see each other very much, and that's part of the sacrifice that I had to endure. New Bedford is home to a lot of people that I love and hold dear to me, but it's not my home. It's where I was raised, but I've lived so many other places. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I've been all over the world and have done and gotten some really incredible things, but I do miss community. So you have to sacrifice a lot, and family, relationships, holidays, all those kind of things. And I look and tell younger people or younger coaches that want to be part of this profession, and they look at me like, wow, you've accomplished some things in your life. I said, yes, but if I told you that you would have to do some of the things that I did, you would probably tap out, because it's a real test to the grind. It's a test to what you have to go through in order to be successful. And there was some early mornings and some very late nights. I could tell you some horror stories about things that we did, and you say, really, you did that? But that's what part of this process is. And I truly believe that you have to go through those things and to get to the places that we dream of being.
And Dave, we have a quite a wide open view of our show. So I kind of want to, when I do my show stretches, I like to make an impact or have my guests make an impact. And I want them to know what it's like to be a assistant coach, then going from a head coach, and the experiences and all the travel that you've done and the experiences that you've done. Because one time you and I sat together not too long ago, and you had told me about the freedom you had because of, I guess, the pressure. I guess I want viewers to know the pressure is to be a head coach, and
Mhm.
what you've been through and what you've accomplished and how
Mhm.
difficult it is, because people think it's so easy. It's not that easy.
Well, yeah. So let me give you one example as an assistant. It was one day. It was in 1990, I believe. 1991, we recruited the number one class in the country. Danielle Marshall, Donnie Marshall, Kevin Ali, and other guys that were, Brian Fair. But it wasn't an easy. It was a very difficult grind. So one day, um, I had to go to the West Coast, and we were in the middle of a season, so a lot was going on. And Coach asked me to kind of go recruit. So I left Hartford, Connecticut, on a 6 o'clock flight. I flew to Los Angeles. I was there about 11:30. I went over to Crenshaw High School to visit with Kevin Ollie. We spent about 45 minutes to an hour together. I left there. I went right back to the airport. I flew to Phoenix, Arizona. I met with a young man, Brian Fair, and watched his practice at about 3:30 in the afternoon. Left her at about 5, got on about a 6 o'clock flight, went to Seattle, Washington, and saw Donnie Marshall play a game right outside of Seattle, Washington. I took a red eye flight at about 12:30, in the evening, the next morning, whatever, back to Hartford, Connecticut, and was in the office the next morning. I went right from the airport, took a shower, and then had a full day. Recruiting, talking, meetings, practices, all those kind of things. After being in 3 West Coast cities in 24 hours, and then back in the office the next day, it's unusual. But most people that take a red eye got to go to bed, got to go to sleep, not going to go to work the next day, and it take 2 days to recover. Where
Right.
that was not the case. We had to be on point every single day. There was no excuses about, as an assistant, doing your job and being really good at it. And so that was it. Becoming a head coach is, we talk about pressures, and some of it becomes self-induced, but a lot of it is because you have the responsibility for so many people and so many things on a daily basis. You have your team, 15 or so guys that you're responsible for, 15 different personalities that every day you try to manage and mesh together into one to create a bond or a chemistry that allow the on-court success to happen. There's budgets. You've got to make sure that you're doing things in line with what the university has for you budgetarily. There's parents and answering their questions every day, and you're not always on the same page because they have one child to worry about and you have 15 to worry about. There's your administration. There's fundraising. There's all the ancillary things that come along every single day. You want to make sure you're connected to admissions department, so you want to be able to get kids in school, the dormitory people. So there's so many things that you wouldn't even imagine that go into it, and you have to balance yourself to keep yourself sane first of all, and then you have to have a game plan about how you're going to go about accomplishing all these relationships and having them believe that you are trying to do the best, for not only the young men that you're in charge of, but for university and the community as a whole. So it's a lot, both as an assistant and a head coach. And, you gotta just put your best foot forward every day and have a lot of self-belief.
And Stretch, what you didn't mention is you were the first African American to
Mhm.
coach at the University of Virginia.
Mhm.
About how that came about and what was that like?
Yeah, so I was at DePaul from 2002 to 2005. We had some pretty quick turnaround success. My second year, we went to the NCAA tournament, and that drew the attention of some people nationally. Again, the relationships that I had forged in the business over some time allowed me to be looked at for some head coaching jobs, of which I had not. I'd become a head coach at 34 at Northeastern, but I'd stayed only 2 years, and so this gave me another potential opportunity. I'd learned from Coach Calhoun that if you were going to be successful on a national level, if you wanted to try to win a national championship, a state university of whatever state was maybe the best place to do it. So Virginia, because of its academic history, because of the basketball history, the ACC being the best basketball conference in America, that was attractive to me. And then the athletic director at the time, Craig Littlepage, he knew some people that I knew. I knew him a little bit from meetings and being in the same organization. And so he contacted me and my attorney at the time, and we started having a conversation. We met 3 or 4 times behind closed doors. I had to kind of go through not only an interview process, but just getting to know him philosophically, how I would handle my business, a state university so prestigious as Virginia, how I would fit in. And ultimately, those conversations led me to a visit down there, and they liked me enough to offer me the job. And so, I hold that near and dear, as you said, Mike, because um, being the first at a lot of things, means a lot to a lot of people, and being the first person of color at a prestigious university like that, was historical. But I never looked at it quite like that. I just wanted to be the best coach that I could possibly be, whether I was, white, green, black, blue, or brown.
But someday, considering that we just recognized the Martin Luther King Day yesterday, it
Mhm.
makes it so much more important, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. I think, again, not just me, but for young, I've been around young people my whole life, and I'm a father to three young men, and so God has blessed me to be an impactful person, and I've had a lot of mentors that help me, and so people of color and what they go through in this country, both historically and especially today, continues to be a challenge. So to be representative of some of the things that are good with people who are not as advantaged as others. I'll put it like that, or people of color who do not have the same opportunity as others, allows me to be a part of the process of moving forward in a direction that was positive to show. I'm just a byproduct of people that have been impactful in my life, starting with, as I mentioned, Mr. Brittle. And when I went to college, both Coach Calhoun and Keith Keith Motley, who was the president of UMass Boston. He's been very influential in my life. And I've had people like that who have shown me the way. And all I've had to do is carry the baton and pay it forward. And so I take a lot of pride in that, not just as a man, but as a black man. And so, as you mentioned, yesterday was honoring the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and his legacy and what he stood for, and all the work that we've done and all the work that we've yet to do.
All right, Stretch. Now let's talk about your coaching expertise after DePaul. You went to Virginia. You then went to other places, Missouri, Tulsa. I don't want to
Mhm.
go list to list, main cause, and then you went back to DePaul and talk about that before we go back into what you're doing now.
Yeah. So, when I spent 4 years in Virginia, um, fortunate at the same time to when I was there that we were ACC champs, which at the time and still today is usually afforded to Duke and Carolina before anybody else. But we were champs in my second year there. We had a really good team, and it didn't last. I don't know that I was. Uh, the right fit for some of the Southern gentlemen or people that were there. And for once we didn't win to the degree that they wanted us to, I moved on. And as you mentioned, I took a few minutes to myself to kind of reset. I went up to Maine and tried my hand at the D League at the time, now the G League. That was a really good experience. Then became an assistant again out in Missouri and ultimately in Tulsa. And I'm a byproduct. I think one of the biggest things about my testimony is I've tried to be true in who I am, respectful to everybody around me, and it's allowed me to do things over again. As I mentioned, I was at Northeastern twice. I was at Connecticut twice, and now when I was uh, at Tulsa, I got an opportunity to go back to DePaul again, which rarely, even to this day, happens that you can go back a second time to a school, particularly for a person of color. But those relationships, and I left there. They didn't fire me or anything. I left there, and so usually when you do that, they're not real happy with you. But the athletic director there, the president, the people that there, they were close friends of mine as well as colleagues, and so it allowed me to kind of go back to the place and restart some things. And so the journey there for 6 years and until 2021 was really good. It was trying because we weren't as successful as I wanted us to be or the university had expected, but at the same point in time, it was what needed to happen for the university and me at that point. And again, I don't look back upon it as anything negative. It was all positive, and the experiences that I gained both as a coach on the floor, calling timeouts, making substitutions, trying to grind with the rest of the coaches in the Big East, and what I was going through personally was something that God needed for me to go through in order to become the person that I continue to try to be.
One thing you forgot, Stretch, is that you were the ACC Coach of the Year. You forgot to mention that. No, I know. You already know. I know. And that's a great accomplishment, given the fact that you was in the ACC with the
Mhm,
best of the best. And if you became
mhm,
the ACC Coach of the Year, had to make
mhm.
an impression on
Yeah, and so those are afforded to coaches that have good players, first of all. So We had some really good players, great backcourt, and they had a belief system. And I was the director of the orchestra. I just tried to put them in places where they sang their song every day, and I drove them hard because that's how I learned how to achieve ultimate success is to expect a lot out of them. But they did all the work. They came ready to play just about every single night, and we became successful. And that year, which was my second year there, we didn't start out very successful. We were by the time we got to January, we had been through a lot. We went down to Puerto Rico and finished in seventh place in a loss to Utah and Appalachian State, and we were kind of wondering what was going to happen. But we had a really good turnaround. We had some moments where we had to be truth tellers to ourselves, and the season got turned around, and we were really successful. So I'm blessed to have received that honor, but I quickly passed it on to the guys and the coaching staff that I had at the time that allowed me to be who I was and orchestrate that particular group.
Now, before I get into, because I'm a little bit upset with you because you had lunch with someone who you already know I'm gonna be upset with. But before we go into that, talk about what you're doing right now.
Yeah, so this is a unique thing that is a little bit different from anything that I or a lot of people have ever discovered. Almost 3 years ago, um, Kevin Ollie, who I mentioned before, who I got to know in 1990 and 91, and we're still great friends to this day, had asked me if I'd be interested in going down to a new startup league called Overtime Elite. Uh, we took, when I accepted the job, we took 26 young men from around the world. We gave them a new pathway to professional success, other than the obvious of going from high school to college, college to the NBA, or to Europe. We paid them a handsome amount of money, and we started an organization. The company, the ownership raised a lot of money, built a tremendous building here in downtown Atlanta, and it's been really rewarding for me because it's taken me away from, kind of as you mentioned before, the hustle and bustle of college basketball, particularly today with the NIL and transfer portal and all those things. I'm not so sure I wouldn't. I already have gray hair. I'd probably have pulled it all out by now
All
if I
right.
had to be in the middle of it. But it gives me an opportunity to be in the gym and doing what I think I'm really good at, which is to mentor young men, to help them realize their dream, but also to prepare them for life once basketball is over for them and the ball stops bouncing. And so I've been here. This is my third year. I love it. It's basketball at a high level. It's not college. It's high school, but they're elite level high school guys. We had the two twins that were on my team last year, Amanda and Asar Thompson, that I got a chance to coach for 2 years. Uh, Don Barlow, who's with San Antonio Spurs. We got a number of guys in the G League that are either on two ways or working their way up. We'll have four guys that were with us last year that will be first round draft picks in this upcoming June's draft. The potential number one pick in the draft, Alexander Sarr, was with us for the last 2 years. So it's been very successful in a very short period of time. And I'm having the time of my life, living in a great city, being around young quality coaches and people that just want to get better and pour into these young guys as best we can.
Now, stretch. I've been watching this weekend I watched about 12 games of all the great players, high school players coming up, juniors, seniors, flag, the whole crew. Do you have anything to do with that as well?
No, I mean, the great high school players, Cooper Flag, AJ Devanza from Brockton,
Yeah,
Mass, all those
yeah.
guys. We've tried to recruit some of them. Some we have, some we haven't. We've got one of the top 5 or 6 players in America with us now. We've got probably, I don't know, 6, 7, or 8 of the top 50. So we have a very good amount of high level high school talent here. Um, it's if you look at where those guys, Cooper Flag goes to Mount Verde, which is a prep school.
Mhm,
AJ goes to Prolific, which is a prep school. We're
mhm.
not a prep school, but we're kind of like a prep school. We have a school that we teach the academic part of it. We can get their high school diploma, but we're a prep school on steroids. I mean, we have basketball facilities that most NBA teams would be jealous of. Washington Wizards were practicing in our gym for a couple of days this past weekend. We've had the Spurs in. We've had, all kinds of probably half a dozen NBA teams come in, and we got a couple of practice courts where we play on our show court is magnificent. We have state of the art weight room facilities. We have nutritionists. We have soup to nuts, everything that a young high school potential athlete that wants to play at the highest level or achieve the highest level of success would ever want. And so, we feed them every day. We've got a barber shop in there. We've got everything that they could ever want. And so, just giving guys like you saw with Hoop Hall just was in Springfield the other day,
Yes.
and it was a tremendous display. So that's the pool of young men that we try to recruit from, uh, and some were successful in getting, and some were not, just like everybody else.
So if I was a young athletic junior and I had
Mhm,
potential, why would
mhm.
I go see Overtime Elite as opposed to going somewhere else?
So you're going to be around some of the best players in the country, if not the world. So competition here is better than by far than anywhere else you could go. Two, you're going to be taught on a daily basis by some of the best skill development coaches that have been recruited to OTE around the country. You'll be coached by people who have coached. I'm not coaching this year, but who have coached a lot of great players and know what it is. You're going to be around and have an opportunity to rub elbows with some of the finest players in the game. We in the spring and summer, when the players are not in school, but a lot of them are still here. Anthony Edwards is here all the time. Trey Young is here all the time. So there are pros that come in and out that live in Atlanta or train in Atlanta, train with our guys, and so you're going to be exposed to basketball, both the good and the challenges that come with it at an early age. So when you get to college, it's kind of like been there, done that, and you understand what a coach may be looking for from you, whether he wants you to be his star player right away or whether you got to fill a role immediately. You've been through all the trials and tribulations and benefited from the expertise that are around you every single day.
And Stretch, the fact is, I wanted you on the show because I wanted to give you your roses, but I also wanted you to make an impact on the viewers who will be watching in. And I'm sure they're going to be parents who have kids who might be have some potential. And I kind of want you to let the viewers know how they can contact you or Overtime Elite or whatever you want to say.
Mhm. Yeah, so if there is a child or a young athlete who is interested, and one, we try to get as good a player, but it's not just about the player; it's about the character and his emotional and physical growth potential. Anybody can just email me at David David dot Leitao Leitao David.Leitao at itsovertime.com. itsovertime.com. And I'm not on the recruiting team, but we have probably half a dozen guys that handle recruiting on an ongoing day-to-day basis. I can make the connection, and then we can kind of have the communication and conversation and go from there.
And Stretch, again, I want to thank you for coming on my show. This is going to be seen by the folks out here in New Bedford. I would like you, if you could, give a shout out to anybody you might want to give a shout out to and take it from there.
Well, I when I left New Bedford at 18, I left some lifelong friendships and relationships, you being a special part of it. And you mentioned, our crew, the Steel Brothers. So I want to give a special shout out to any and all of the Steel Brothers for their lifelong friendship, dedication. A couple of them have been down here. I got to get you down here too, Mike. Sonny was just down here a few weeks ago. He's been to our arena. So I want to give a special shout out to them. Very important friendships that I hold near and dear. And then all of my family that is left there, my sisters in the community, and then the friendships and the people in the community that really matter, that work hard every single day to make the lives of young people better. Uh, we do it everywhere. I do it here in Atlanta. They do it in New Bedford. And so um, I just want to give a shout out to any and all people who've had an impact on my life and continue to have an impact on the lives of young people.
And Stretch, again, as you stated, we lost a living legend, a person near and dear to me, Mr. Peter Brito, who has given me the impetus to do what I do now and recognizing others. And it's been real tough. And I'm glad you came on my show. It really hurts. I lost a friend, a person who is
Mm,
very
yeah.
uh, special to me. And I want to thank you. I want to thank you for coming on my show. And Dave, you are very special. You have the qualities of a Peter Brittle. You have the qualities of your parents and your family. And you know what I remember most about everything and anything about you being a ball player or anything else. You know when something happens in the city, and if you're available, you come. Whether it be a lost one, you come, you show, you do everything you can. You never lost who you came from, and to me, that's the most important thing. And I appreciate you coming on my show, and I'm thankful that my network allows me to do what I want and to have the people that I want on my show. And I really wanted you to have on my show because not only do I love you to death, and it's tough. This is a tough show. But anyway, I just wanted to thank you for coming on my show, my brother. And I will be down there in Atlanta and I'll do whatever you need. And I just want you to know that, you are appreciated here in the city. And your legacy will never be forgotten as long as I'm here in New Bedford. And I want to thank you so much. And your aunt was supposed to come on. Uh, Sandy. I don't know what's going on here, but I'm gonna check her real quick. But
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah. I'll call her myself too. But oh, there
I'm
she
here.
goes. There she
oh boy.
I've been here. I've been here, Mike.
Well, Sandy, you supposed to come on early.
I've been on the whole time.
Well, Sandy, before we go, can you talk about Mr. David Leitao, please?
You got a lot of nerve. I've been here this whole time watching
I
the
didn't
show.
know. I had no idea.
You're supposed to know that. You're the host. I'm
All
just
right.
sitting back watching this great show.
It was
Uh,
a good show. Very good show, cousin.
thank
Yeah. No, no, no.
Mwah.
We miss you.
Love,
We
love,
love
love.
you and miss you.
Love.
All
Yeah.
right.
Hey,
That's
Mike.
my that's
So
my other son
these are
right
my
there.
yeah, these are my two, my West Coast mother and my East Coast mother right here. And I just told the story was everybody looks forward to their first day of college. I was looking around for a ride, and Sandy's like, you know what? Let's go. I'll put your junk in the back seat of the car and in the trunk, and let's drive you to Boston and get you started. And her voice rang true every year. As a matter of
you.
fact, I just last week, Sandy, watched the Northeastern Villanova game, and there you were, you and Diane, sitting there right behind the bench, screaming, yelling. So between her sister, my dear cousin Faithy behind her,
Ah,
and Sandy, those are my hearts. I love them to death, and they are
my
part of
heart
my
too.
journey.
We love you
Uh,
just
I, I wouldn't be wherever I am. I wouldn't be where I am without them too. So I love
uh,
them to death.
love
Yeah.
you too,
We
honey.
got a few
Love
minutes.
you back.
Sandy,
Love you back.
say what you got. We got a few minutes. Go ahead, we got a few minutes.
Well, all I can say is he was a special other son.
Yes.
All through high school, his Holy Family days. I don't think I ever missed a Northeastern game when he played. Never missed a game. When he coached at UConn, I used to get out of work and drive to stores or Hartford to every single game. I don't think I ever missed a game when he was coaching locally.
You got me because I missed a few. I missed a few.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Very proud of him.
I'm
He's
proud of him too.
just an awesome young man.
Your mother
Um,
is smiling right now.
there
Mm,
he is.
Irene is
yeah,
smiling.
yeah, yeah. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it takes a village, as everybody says, and this is my village. And my mother was working hard on the West Coast, and Faithy was with her every day, and Sandy took great care of me. from my senior year in high school until till right now. She's still taking care of me. So
I love
so
it.
I appreciate it. But yeah,
So proud of you,
uh,
Dad. So proud of you.
yeah. Thank
Mhm.
And
you, thank you,
some
thank you.
that's why I'm honored to have the platform I have to do things like this. That's why I wanted you on the show to surprise. This I think you did. I think
But
you got it.
you were
Mhm.
surprised that we were here this whole time.
I
I
had
tell
no
you,
idea. I had no
you
idea.
you did an awesome
Uh,
job
Very
hosting
good
the
job.
show.
Very good job. Very good show.
No, hey, I didn't do a damn thing. Dave did it all.
Dave did.
My roses for him, and you know how much I love him. Enough said. But hey, we got about 6, 7 minutes. This is all for you.
Well, wait a minute. I
You
just
lost
lost
it.
you again. Hold on. I'm not the most technical person,
Neither am I. Dave
but
already knows.
but I'm here. And I
uh,
think hold on a second. I did something.
Well,
Hey,
so
Con,
so
can I ask a question?
Sure.
Dave, you know how. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, we got the boss in the crib. Uh-oh. Dave, this is
Uh,
my boss.
Again, I'm sitting back here listening. I'm Con's producer. I'm Key. Um,
Oh,
how did you? This question is for David. Did you work with the Thompson twins at all?
yeah, every day, and they are. If there's a better word to describe them than special, then I got to find it. They're a gift from God. Uh, their middle names is 4 letters, excellency, excellency, and they at a high level 4 times a day they worked out. They were gifted with athleticism that I mean, I've been around a lot of athletes in my time, but they were another level. But more importantly, their humility and the kindness every single day that they shared was something that is extremely unique for players at that stage, at that level, or that stature, most importantly. And so, I just told a story today. We were talking about them that um, I think through our relationship over 2 years that I have their soul, and they completely have my soul. And so that relationship with the guys that I've coached, a lot of them, and not every single one of them, you can't do it with everyone, but you create a bond that allows you to motivate, and the techniques that it takes to motivate. Some is arm around you and hug you and hold you tight. The other is sometimes put a hand around your neck and force you to do things that you don't want to do. But not the physical part of it, just being a strong male voice and a mentor to those two have been instrumental to me more than even them. And they've got a lot of people that tug at them, but they are unicorns, not just because they're twins, but because of who they are as young people and how they've been raised, their humility and their work ethic and their understanding of their surroundings. And so I was just blessed to have them be in my space for the last 2 years.
So which one's the better? Which one's the better ball player?
That you get a prize for being the millionth person to ask that question.
Hey,
so
boss,
so
why you ask that, boss? Come on, man.
uh,
Look,
uh,
come
uh,
on,
a
come on,
man
Con. I
a
gotta
man is
represent you. You asked the tough questions, right?
All right, boss, you got that.
a man has always been a little bit more of the highly touted one, and probably a little bit more accomplished. But I always said, and their father agreed with me, that I would not be shocked, not just if, but when Asar passes and becomes a better player. He has a little bit more growth potential, a little bit better control of his shot, and can do a little bit more with the basketball. Although to say that and say something against the other one, in this case, a man, would be blasphemy because they're both so supremely talented.
And Dave, you know something? We have a one of the co-hosts on another show on the network. He's from Houston, so he's very familiar with the Houston Rockets. So that's why that question was asked. We call him Coach Dante, and he is a Houston Rockets, Houston fanatic. So he's always looking forward to finding out things about the Houston Rockets or anything with Texas concerned. But we have uh, You know who is in the box right now, and hopefully she can say a couple of things before we have to go.
Sandy, you're on mute too, so you got to unmute
No, no,
yourself.
no. I knew I was muted, but I didn't know he was talking about me.
I'm
Who else?
talking about you, okay? I'm talking about you. You know how I am.
I know, but listen, I don't know what else you can say other than having somebody of his caliber in our family. David's been just, we're blessed. He says he's blessed. We're blessed by him. My kids were raised with him. He's been part of our family. We're not, we're cousins, but we're not. We're closer than
Siblings.
that. We're like siblings. We grew up together. Our parents, my mother and his mother were sisters. My mother, I lost my mother. She was young when she died. She had just turned 70, so my mother's been gone for 26 years. And so my Aunt Irene, that's our other baby. That's my sister's other baby from the West Coast. Uh, we were just blessed. We were blessed by this family. Our families are
Definitely.
close. Um, my aunt, I look at her and thank her every day for how she raised. She worked two jobs. Not he's talked about one job
She
at
worked two
Goodyear,
jobs.
but she worked two jobs. Had the kids, and my grandfather, God rest his soul, would help out, but she did it all. And he's true. We used to laugh when we were kids. I was spoiled. I never had to deal with what he had to do.
And
My
we were
Aunt
spoiled.
Irene, we
She
were
didn't play.
spoiled. They had to do their housework. They couldn't leave the house on Saturdays, and they could. But you know what's so funny? She was strict with them, but my auntie had our
She
backs.
had my back, I'll
She
tell you
she let
that.
us do all kind of stuff when I was a teenager that my mother wouldn't let me do. So she was the cool auntie. But no, we have a blessed family. David's with all his accomplishments, he's got three sisters that have the same. They're all educated, great jobs, great human beings. Um, just a great siblings, and I don't know what else to say. They're just a good family.
Now,
And hmm?
who's behind you?
My sister,
I'm the cousin.
she's the California
I'm the
queen.
cow. That's me, the
Have her
She
come,
cousin
just
over here.
she just moved back from California.
have her come
Right?
on.
Huh? She's right here. She's here. Can you hear her?
I
She's
can
right
hear.
there. She's right
Yeah,
there.
that's my sweetheart right there. He's very special. Very, very special young man. Love him to
So,
pieces.
Mike, this is part of my like. Sandy has lived on the East Coast in New Bedford her whole life. She's been my mother. Faithy moved out as this migration between my family and her family to the West Coast, and so she's been my love child. I love her to death. She loves me to death. We should share a million stories about living in California and what she has meant to me. She's not in this world. She's of this world. She sees things differently, and so I go to her for late night advice on a lot of things because she's a great predictor, and she has a kindred soul, as Sandy does, and they, as I said, it took a village, as the saying goes, and these are two critically important members of my village, and who have helped me in so many ways that I couldn't even count. And the word love is
We've
just the start of how I feel about them, and they feel about me.
You're gonna
And
make
I've
that's
got we've got it. Listen, as much as you say, we've got the same in return.
We sure
We
did,
we
David.
got the same in return.
Definitely,
I've got more
definitely.
opportunities than I can say. Um, I'm gonna start crying
I know.
because it's true.
so am
I
I. So am
I
I.
listen. I got to go to London to games. I got to go to Hawaii to games. I got to Puerto Rico to get. Like I said, I never missed a game, and I was fortunate enough.
Mhm.
He used to give up his room for in the hotel and sleep with some another coach so I could go to a game. So I don't forget
No, he's a
all the
sweetheart.
things that David has
He's
done.
been there for
He
us.
says that we were part of his village. He did the same in return for us.
Exactly.
Exactly. I traveled. I went to Hawaii. I remember going to London and going behind the gates of the palace where nobody else can go, but we were with UConn, got to go all these places that I never would go on our own. We wouldn't be allowed to. The opportunities were just amazing. I remember, and this is a true story, when they went to the NCAA tournament and they were down in Florida when they won their first um, uh, Final Four. And I'll never forget that game because I was very sick at the time and I couldn't fly and I couldn't travel. My cousin Susan, his sister, and my husband and I, they put me in a car and we drove from New Bedford to Tampa, down to Florida to go to that game. And we were there. They won the game. And as sick as I was, we stood up all night celebrating because we had other games too. I'll never forget being in Sea Caucus and we're on the phone trying to get our ticket at the Sweet 16 because we're going to move up. We're going to the Final Four. And then that damn, what's his name? Leitner, Christian Leitner, had to make a shot, and our tickets went out the window. That day I'll never forget as long as I live. We're on the phone making trying to get plane tickets to go to the Final Four, and he hits that shot at the last second, and it went from the highest to the lowest in 2 seconds. I'll never. We had some good times. Like I said, I've been blessed by a lot of things, and David's wife, Joyce,
She's a sweetheart.
great woman, great mother. Um, like he said, living the life of a coach. We never had David for holidays, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. That's big basketball season. So
Right.
David was never available for Christmas, Thanksgiving, for all the years ever since he was in college, because that's when they always played. He'd be on tournament games and away. So he was away from his family a lot. He's got three amazing young men. I all three of them. They're all great kids in their own right,
Hold
and
up.
because of their talent,
I have
because of
to.
their parents.
I have to disagree.
What do you mean?
David Jr. Dave knows what I'm talking about. When I used to go to Virginia, David Jr. used to crack on me, call me every.
He's still like that.
No, that's not. Hey, Dave will tell you stories. He would have a ball with me. He called me every.
Wow.
Oh, we had a ball. We had a
He's
ball.
get, he's getting
Jokester
his
like his
payback now,
father.
Con. He's getting his payback now because he's a referee. So they get on him twice a week. They just get on his case. So he's getting his payback.
So,
Sandy, it was hysterical. It was hysterical.
yeah, he's a clown. He's a clown. He's a jokester.
Oh my God! Oh, Lord.
But they're great
Yeah,
kids, all three of them.
yeah.
Yes,
Very
yeah.
good.
And Joyce is a sweetheart.
Yep.
She is.
Yep.
The
Yep.
Leo. And you know what I wanted to tell too is because Sandy, because you were there. Dave used to have cookouts in Connecticut in the summertime, and he would have a lot of the athletes come in there, and he'd have big cookouts, and the proceeds he would give away to the staff or to other things that he's done. And a lot of people don't know all the good things he's done. They think, oh yeah, but we don't know. Well, we know, but a lot of people don't know the heart that he has and the things he's done and contributed him and Joyce.
A, a, a big, big heart.
Big heart.
Big heart.
That's why I want to do this show to give him his props, his roses, because I know.
Yeah. Thank you for doing it. Appreciate it so much.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to see him being recognized because he deserves
He
it.
deserves it.
He earned it, and he made New Bedford proud.
You damn right. Damn right.
Thank you. Thank you.
And because I have the platform, I say what I want, and you're damn right.
Thank you.
You
Thank
damn
you.
right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, I'm
And
humbled. I'm humbled.
we're already a little bit late, so anything y'all want to say?
I love you.
David. You sweetheart.
We love you.
Mwah.
We miss you.
Mwah.
You might be that many miles away, but you're in our heart every day.
Definitely.
We're gonna plan the next cookout, okay? That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna plan the
Okay.
next cookout.
Sure.
That's for sure. This
Yeah.
summer we got a big one, and the boys
Yeah.
all promised they're coming.
Yeah.
So we're
So
gonna do it. We'll do it this year.
thank you.
All
All
right.
Thank you,
right.
Love
Love
thank you,
you.
you.
thank you,
Love you
thank you.
so much.
Love
All
you.
right.
Bye now.
Bye.
Uh,
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you guys for
Thank
coming
you.
on.
Love you. Bye.
all right.
Signing off.
Hey, Stretch, thank you again for coming on my show. And I love you to death. And you needed to have this from me. I would feel not right if I didn't give you this honor and praise for what you've done for the community of New Bedford, what you've done for the Steel Brothers, what you've done for your family, and what you've done for everyone. And it's my mission to recognize others. And I am so proud of you. And I have no words more to say, just that I love you and hope to see you soon. I wish you best of success. And
Thank you, thank you. Well, no, I love you. I appreciate you. It's a testimony to the years and the friendship. I honor you, my friend. Thank you very much.
thank you, Stretch.
Thank
Love
you.
you, Steel Brother.
All right.
Hey, y'all tune in again for Sports Con with the Conn Man on the Sports Wave Network. I will probably never have a guest like my man right here, but we're going to do the damn thing. And again, I want to thank my man David Stretch later coming on my show. Thank you. God bless. We have another big show tomorrow. We have the Hoop Queen, Megan Price, and we're trying to do the right thing. So stay tuned for the Con Man on the Sports Empire Network. Bye.